Two Jack Bros. Two Jack Bros.
So I have actually a really funny story about this kid named Bobby James. When I was a kid, he put, and like I remember, like you're laughing. It was like one of those times that like I've ever heard like nervous laughter.
Yeah.
Like the first time, I'm like, oh man, we're in trouble, but we're trying to like pretend like we're not. Bobby, we were messing around as kids and we were playing with Lincoln logs, and he had a barrel, like a wooden barrel for Lincoln logs, and he joking around, he put it on his head, and then like it was like resting on his head snug, and then it like just slid past and like went right down. And we were both like, he's like, oh, look at me. He's like playing around. He's like, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. It won't come. And it would not come off his head. And he
It was covering his whole face.
Oh, his whole head.
Oh, that's freaky.
Straight down.
That's
so
terrifying.
then I remember he was like, you got to help me. You got to help me. So then I started hitting it with a, remember, you know, those like little, those little.
Break it.
That's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
I was like,
you talked to Ryan Shaver
Yeah.
for not even 20 minutes?
Yeah.
You
Breaking it.
already know that about
He
him.
breaks things.
That is his solution to
I was like, can it be broken? It will be broken. I will fucking break it. And that was the thing. He had it stuck on his head and he's like crying. And he's like, I can't get it all, you got to get it. So I tried pulling it. I tried like, you know, like shaking it like it would be the thing. But like really I'm just shaking around a boy's head. It was like getting his all. He's like, I think you got to kind of like crack it. And I was like, no problem. So he had this like Phillies carnival bat.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, ready? I was like, 1, 2, 3. And like I did it, but like you don't know like how hard you're supposed to hit something like that. You don't know. And I know when I hit it, it sounded like a drum. And I know I was hitting the crown of his head, like right on the top of it. And it must have been so loud because he was just screaming this whole time. So then I'm like hitting the side of it, trying to break it. He's like, no, you can't use the bat anymore. So like he laid down on the floor and I like kicked it while this barrel was stuck on his head.
Like you stomped him?
No, I didn't curb stomp. I thought about like maybe elbow dropping off the bed because that would be the best way to go. But like I was like kicking it, and then his mom came in and he's crying while like some of the wood is broken, and she had to unscrew. There were like small little brackets around the metal parts of the barrel that she had to unscrew, and I just sat there while he cried while she did it, calling both of us stupid the whole fucking time. Like we were the dumbest children on the planet.
It's like you either unscrew it or curve stomp.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, why didn't you come get me? I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, he didn't want to get in. Like, you know how sometimes you get hurt as a kid and you don't want to tell your parents because you think you're going to get in trouble?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just don't say anything. That was
Yeah.
one of those times. I think it's also because you don't want to be the dumbass to go to your mom and be like, Mom, I have a barrel stuck on my head. You don't want to be that person.
Mom, don't panic.
Look,
it's me.
Just going down with a barrel on your head like, Mom, I know what you're thinking. 'Cause there's got to be a time when like your parents look at you like, I gave birth to that fucking idiot.
For sure.
That's the stupidest fucking person I've ever, like that thing came out of my body.
I think more so, I think your parents probably look at you more as like, I'm so sorry I gave him that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Because that's
God.
like everything that has made me like drop my head or like tilt my head to the side that my son has done.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm so sorry I genetically passed that on to you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I
yeah.
also have to fucking yell at you for it because that's not right.
I gave you all of those traits to be so stupid. It's
Yeah.
like one of those things. But it's also, I think my mom and other parents that lived on that block, like they were like apologetic that they gave us the thing thinking we were responsible enough to have it. You know, like,
Well, they gave you something with a head size shaped hole.
yeah, I mean, there's like, you won't put your head
I mean,
in that.
what are you
Why
gonna-
would he do that?
What do you expect us to do?
Why would you think he could do that?
You didn't measure our heads before you gave us that? Come
It's
on.
kind of like, you know, I think a buddy of mine, when we were kids, he also like, there was like kids on the block that parents were just way too trustworthy with their children. Like, you know, you ever meet a kid who's like 8 or 9 and has bottle rockets and you're like, how did you get those? And it's like, who gave? Like, my dad said we could have him. He came back from Mexico. I don't know. He just gave it to us. Like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. And that's a one-way ticket to burning the woods down because
Yeah.
you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And you just light them off and throw them at things.
Yeah, that's I remember that kid. That kid also had pink Umbros.
Oh,
And he just wore pink Umbros all the time. His name was Scott. And being Umbros all the time.
Umbros
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I just remember he was always wearing Umbros.
Dude, there was a kid.
Good old
There was a kid named
numbers.
EJ who wore. He was super skinny and frail, but he wore bicycle shorts. But they like hung off of him.
Yeah.
And he just wore them all the time. It was the most unnerving thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. I
Oh,
think.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a good time. Yeah.
Great.
Shannon, you know what we do on this podcast?
I do not.
Okay, cool. So basically, everybody gets the same questions on this podcast.
Fantastic.
Right? So what we're doing is we're going to take you through the process of enlightenment so that we can learn everything we can from you.
I,
So that
Break it.
So that we don't
I think
have
we've already learned.
Yeah.
is that right, Sydney?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see how this one fucking goes.
So we're basically going to open up all your chakras, starting from the root chakra, and work our way up.
Wait, which one's my which is the fun chakra? Which is the
We
fun-
start off with
Oh,
the
good.
fun chakra.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, I would say the first chakra. I mean, they're all
Yeah.
they're all
They're
kind
all
of
fun.
They're all fun chakras.
Fun chakras.
Some good time chakras.
Sick. Dude,
right?
good time chakras. I've been to that massage bar.
Yeah.
It's fucking good time chakras is all right. Chakra till you drop you, dude. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's basically what it is. The whole premise of this podcast is to prove that you can have like the basically the sense of humor that you have
Uh-huh.
and still reach a higher consciousness. It's not just left for the fucking nerds.
I'm all about it.
Right?
I'm all about that. That's good.
All right, cool.
That's the type of stuff I need now. That's
Hell
great.
yeah. Hell yeah. So before we get into it, what we like to always do with everybody is we ask this question, which is, Shaner, what situation or experience has given you the most information?
The most information.
Mm-hmm.
Having sex with a chick on her period has given me the most information that I've ever in one moment.
Yeah.
Given me the most information.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like something cliche that I would say off the bat.
Does it?
I don't know.
It's really
take a
first
good-
impression. So like, okay.
Having sex with a chick on her period.
Take a good gander at me. Come on.
Come on. I screamed sex, period sex, dude. But I would say that was the most information. Not only did I get about a situation I had never been in before, and two, human interaction with like a situation where two people have to be like, got it. Like, I mean, that's where I learned a lot about myself too.
Yeah.
About like how cool I can be in a situation that I don't know anything about. Because if you start having sex with somebody who's on their period and they don't tell you and you don't know,
Yeah.
and you're like, you look down and you see what's going on, what's the first thing you would think of? Would you think period, or you think there's something you have done wrong?
I would. Well, I don't break things as a standard, so I don't tend to defer to the idea that I broke something.
That's a guilty conscience.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Yeah, that might be,
I have a very guilty conscience.
Yeah,
If I looked, like, that's what happened too. And like, I looked down, I was like, oh, and I think I said very quietly, like, oh no.
wait, did I eat it too much?
No, I'll tell you,
Did I eat too much?
that right there too was I went down on this chick before we had sex.
Yeah,
So I was under the impression everything was cool. I didn't.
you coaxed the period out of her.
What I think I learned also is you can jostle loose, like if you're on your last little bit of the period or the period's about to start, you like bust the levee,
Yeah.
and then the fucking it opens up. I didn't know that. I found that out that day.
Yeah.
I also found out that periods, especially with certain people, can be either like they don't just start out light and then become heavy, or they can all
Puberty
be
class.
it can be heavy right off the bat. Like I didn't know that. I thought it was like a faucet that slowly turns on. I thought it was something like that.
Were you like, your Bush doesn't care about black people? I'm sorry, Katrina. It was a Katrina joke.
I'll tell you what, I did not see. I saw rioters down there. That's what I saw. Looters and rioters down there. I did not see people trying to survive. That's what I saw.
So how did you two handle it? How did you,
So when I looked down, I did say, I was like, oh no. And she was like, what? And then I was like, I think there's a problem. And she looked down, she goes, and she like, very quickly was like, stop. And I think what happened was when she said stop, I was under the impression that I had done something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, clearly I've ruined a vagina.
Yep. I broke it.
I broke this fucking vagina up. Part of me was like, hell yeah, dude. Fucking, that's what you do, dude. But later, like, you know, she started getting embarrassed. And that's when I was like, she didn't say, oh, I was getting my period or, oh, I had my period or anything like that. She didn't say anything like that to the effect. I guess she just assumed I would know. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stood there, and she like went to the bathroom, and I honestly stood in her room naked with like blood all over my dick, just like standing there, like
mouth.
Dude, yeah, I was just like, I looked
Like
up.
a sad clown.
I looked like fat ass from Stand By Me. I just had fucking pie eating face, and I stood there. I was like, oh man, I honestly think like, I'm in big trouble. Like,
She's gonna come back.
yeah,
with
I
some
honestly
authority
thought her
figure.
mom was gonna come
Yeah.
in, and be like, what did you do? I'm like, this is the barrel all over again. This is bullshit. I knew it, man. I'm on candid camera now. This fucking sucks. But yeah, that was, and then, you know, she came back in, she sat down, and she was like almost mortified. And I felt bad because, like, you know, if you're fucking somebody, the last thing you want to do is make anybody feel bad. I think that's like rule number one. Is you don't want to make anybody feel bad for anything that they can't control. So like she sat down, she was like, oh my God. I'm like, I guess blah, blah, blah. And she's like muttering to herself. And I'm still standing there like, can I go? What do I don't know what to do. And then she was like, oh yeah, you opened up like a uterine lining, blah, 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 blah. I was like, so this is a period thing? She's like, yeah, sometimes this. And she gave me all of this, like, almost like a fucking after-school special.
This is really the most information he's ever.
And I was just like, but all at one time. Not the most information my whole life, but like all at one time. I was just like, what? I was like, I walked away feeling better about this situation. It's like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
A fucking star flew over me. Like, the more I know, dude, about periods.
Yeah.
No wonder you answered that question so fast.
Yeah.
It was definitely.
It all makes sense
I'll
now.
tell you, anybody who's ever been in this situation who's like doesn't know what's going, you're like, oh, I honestly didn't know what had happened. I was like, did I hurt someone? Because if you see blood, your brain's like, well, clearly I did something wrong. There's not usually supposed to be blood during sex. I don't think there is supposed to be, unless you're like, you know, two virgins and then you're rolling the dice. But this lady and me, yeah. But this lady and I were in, you know, she was 22, I was 23, and like this is the first time I'd, you know, so it was like, what the fuck's going on here?
That's pretty. That's thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Didn't know.
Yeah. So, how did you learn to overcome fear?
How did I learn to overcome fear? What type of fear? Fear comes in certain ways.
So this is your question. However the question hits you is the way you answer it.
So I'm trying to think of like the scariest moment I've been in, and how did I learn to overcome that?
Is it somewhere between barrelhead and
No,
period
I mean,
sex? I couldn't see and there was blood.
terrifying the whole time. I have a terrifying life. I'm an everyman of fear, dude. It's crazy. I would say like the way I've learned to overcome fear is like, you know, is one accepting whatever's happening is happening. I think that's one way to look at, especially in a very scary situation, especially if it's a situation that you cannot control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to like, I think the scariest situation that I have never been in, but like, I know if I was in it, I would be like, I guess I have to just, whatever happens is going to happen. And that in my head is like being attacked by a wild animal. Mm-hmm. If you're in the, especially an ocean, an aquatic animal where you're not designed to be in anyway. You're not designed to be in the ocean. We're fucking primates. We're fucking mammals. We're on the ground all the fucking time. We're land-dwelling organisms. If we're in the water and a shark comes up to you, what do you think you're going to do? There's things you could try.
Break it.
Dude, yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Everyone says, like, I've read up on it before. Go for the eyes. You're supposed to, like, thumb a shark's eye. At least get one. Because apparently a shark's hunting is so vital. Its eyes are so vital to hunting. If you damage one, it'll, like, stop attacking you because it knows it needs the other. It'll, like, let you go.
Or just like
Yeah,
like,
or is it-
they don't have
again,
long enough
yeah.
like to reach their eyes. They can't cover it. Oh shit.
I think it would be funny, like, you thumb a shark's eye. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude. Dirty. But I think understanding a
What was that
situation of just accepting fear. Just be like, this is going to happen. This is scary. And I think, getting over fear, again, I think it's levels of things. Like what may be scary to some. And I mean, I know people who are afraid of the dark. And I've always been curious about like, why are you afraid of the dark? Especially as an adult. I know adults who are afraid of the dark. And I've asked them like, what are you afraid of? Like, it's not the dark that I'm afraid of. It's afraid of what's in the dark. It's like, we're in the living room, not Da Nang, dude. There's no fucking person in the dark or anything in the dark coming to get you. And I've often wondered because my younger brother is an adult man who's afraid of the dark.
And you don't have any afraid of the dark fear?
Afraid of in my own house?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
You wouldn't run
Like,
from
what
your
about,
basement?
like,
Do you have a basement?
Yeah, basement.
No.
You've never.
No, I mean, I did when I was a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, as far as this.
Have you had a basement as an adult?
Yeah. I have a
You
basement
weren't-
now.
It wasn't scary?
No.
Did you go down in the basement in the dark?
Yeah.
Why? You're a creep, dude. Why do you do that? You're what people should be afraid of in a basement in
That's
the dark.
also another way to get over fear.
Maybe that's why
that's
you're-
another thing to get over
Become
fear.
the thing that should be feared.
Seriously. Like, what's the worst that could happen to me? I've also thought about this too. Is like when people talk about like, what if there's like a ghost in the basement? That's what everyone thinks. There's going to be like some sort of entity or ghost in the basement. I've also often believed that like if a ghost approaches you and you're naked, it'll leave you alone.
Be creepier than
Like,
a ghost.
that's what I'm saying. Could you imagine a ghost coming up, like a Victorian, like dressed ghost, and you're half chub in the basement doing laundry? They're not fucking with
Start
you.
jerking off.
They're just gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Look the ghost right in the eyes. and
It's like,
start
I'm glad
jerking
you're
off.
here now. You better see some ectoplasm, baby. Like getting a boner in front of a ghost is the way to go.
So, is there a situation that you can recall that method is what turned you into dealing with fear that way?
What, getting a boner?
Yeah, just chubbing up, or just like becoming what is feared.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, which one situation comes to mind?
So there was a time where I first moved to Philadelphia, and I had crashed at a friend's house off of Temple campus, and I was like walking home.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I was going to walk through like a very shitty part of fucking Philadelphia. And everyone was like, you're going to get robbed or you're going to get jumped or something's going to happen. It's like, you know what? I have found like, and this is, I don't know if I'm going to knock. I don't believe in knocking on wood because again, I believe whatever's going to happen. I have lived in Philadelphia for over 10 years and I have had a gun pointed at me 4 times, but I've never been robbed. I've never been robbed. I've never been accosted, and I've never been jumped.
Yeah.
And I think it's because when I walk around, how I carry myself is people are like, that guy is going to rob or jump or accost me.
Wait, when you were young, like, was there something that made you have this approach to fear? Because I feel like you're very much like, things aren't going to scare me. I'm going to take control of my life.
I mean,
and not
it's
be
kind of
feared.
like, I would say like growing up, I guess I had like a form of like a short man complex for the most. It was like I was a short kid.
Yeah.
I'm not a tall guy now, so it's more like the way I kind of carry myself is like, yeah, you could do anything.
I like how you are a short kid, not tall guy now. I like that. I like the way.
Short kid. I'm not a tall guy now. I would never call myself a short man, Sydney. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. Thanks a lot.
But I know I like
No,
that. I'm
dude,
glad you
yeah,
didn't call
yeah,
you.
yeah.
You don't have to.
That's fine.
You don't have. You can,
I'm glad
you.
you.
Can
I'm
describe
glad
your
you
height
took my
however you want.
terminology, flipped it around, man. That's
No, I
fine.
didn't flip it around, but I like that you
That's
fucking
fine.
you get to decide how you
Yeah,
describe
I'm
that.
dictating my fucking fear, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not a tall.
short kid, not a tall guy
Not
now.
a tall guy. I'm not a short guy. Fuck you. God damn.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not tall guy.
I think. I think it's more like, if you. I mean, I don't know. I kind of look at like the way my mom. I was raised by my mom, and I remember her telling me like, she kind of set me straight. She's like, Ryan, you're not like the biggest kid. You're not a big kid. You will get picked on. Like there are going to be people bigger than you who will pick on you. She's like, the most important thing is like, you're going to get in fights. Like fights will happen. And my mom's advice is, Ryan, lose if you can. No, lose if you must, win if you can, but always make them regret it. Always make them regret that they tangled with you. And it doesn't matter, like, even if you lose, if you make someone have a permanent injury, they will tell other people, like, yeah, you could fuck with that person. but you will walk with a limp forever. You could fuck with that person, but you will lose your finger.
Have you ever bit somebody in a fight?
Have I ever bit somebody in a fight? Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Anthony's trying to get a read on you right now. Like, what is this?
No. I've never bit anybody in a fight, but I also have been in situations where like more than one person has wanted to fight me at the same time.
Yeah. So let me. I just have a quick thing I want to add real quick. So one time I was in Philadelphia. I was just on the streets of Philadelphia. I think I was talking to you on the phone, and all of a sudden I just
not a tall guy.
no.
You saw not a tall guy?
I didn't see not a tall guy. Right. What I felt was people partying. You know, like all of a sudden, like people on the street were partying, and the partying was getting closer to me.
Yeah.
And the energy was so intense that I started to go in the opposite direction before I turned around, like in case I had to run. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was Ryan Shader.
That's
It was
amazing.
Ryan.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that is it. And I walked with you for a little bit. I walked with you for a little bit because I was like, I want to be part of this intensity for a little bit. And see.
When the fuck was this?
It was years ago.
Jesus
it was years
Christ.
ago. You know, and I walked like maybe like 3 or 4 blocks with you, and then I'd like turn around and go back because my car was in the other direction.
Yeah.
But it was just like,
Did you enjoy the walk? Were you like, yeah?
yeah, I felt like I was walking with a pit bull. It was like, I've never felt so safe in my life.
You know, my one boss, he had seen me walking. He's like, I used to walk to work a lot. And he's like, yeah, you look always like you're coming from or going to a fist fight all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like another way of getting by, especially in a dangerous city.
Where'd
Yeah.
you grow up?
I grew up in Spring City, not far from Sydney. He grew up in Pottstown.
Spring City.
Yeah,
Spring City
we're
is
like sister towns.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
yeah?
much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
both
yeah.
grew up in the mushroom cloud for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like growing up there wasn't a lot of like crime or danger for the most part. But like when you move to Philadelphia and the murder rate every year is just like over and over and over and over and over. And everyone's like, you know, it like someone told me it's not if, it's a when something happens to you in
Yeah.
Philadelphia. And my ideology behind that is like if it's going to be a when, like I dictate when.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I'll dictate.
I will say this is a very important distinction because there wasn't a lot of like ridiculous crime like what's happening in Philadelphia, but because of that, there was more people getting fucked up on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like people don't get fucked up as regularly in the city because if you fuck somebody up, they might kill you or shoot you or
Sure,
stab
that
you.
is very true.
But like, you know, where we grew up, we were
Oh, yeah.
constantly fucking each
Oh,
other
yeah,
up
dude.
always. So when you take that mentality, knowing like you can get fucked up at any moment, and then you go to a city where you're like, people are fucking people up here. You're like, fucking, I'm ready. I gotta stay ready.
Yeah.
Like I say this, I do not go into the city like if I have an injury or something.
oh
I
no!
never go
Oh
into the
man,
city if I
dude.
can't protect myself.
When I blew out my knee,
Yeah,
I felt like prey.
it's terrifying.
I honestly, I did not feel
I
good.
remember these conversations
Yeah.
with you.
It sucked because I was walking around with a brace, and I remember when I first got the brace where I could like kind of walk and like bend my knee. I remember I would put. Like the doctor even told me, he's like, yeah, you put on jeans and put the brace over top. I was like, fuck no. Fuck no. And he's like, what do you
People
mean?
can't
He's
know
like, you
about
won't be
this.
able to put pants on. I was like, I'll buy different size pants.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having a visible like
Buy
impairment.
different size pants.
Fuck that.
Ryan would rather have people think he's appropriating black walks.
Serious. I would rather have someone be like, look at that dude. I don't like that.
Thank you.
I'd be like, yeah. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with him? I'm like, I just have flavor, dude. You
Yeah.
better back off.
All right,
Yeah.
so I don't mean to cut you off, but we got to move on a little
That's
bit.
fine.
So
Move it on.
So yeah, so our next question, I think this would be a fun one for you too. This is a segment called My Bad, and this is where we get to. Oh, by the way, that was your fear chakra. That's your root chakra. That's
Yeah.
in the anus, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Your butthole is wide open now.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Once the butthole is open.
And I also talked about being prey. Now I feel
Yeah.
like wild ass prey. Fantastic.
yeah.
Great. Butthole chakra wide open. Awesome.
So this next one, right? This is what deals with like guilt and stuff like that. So this gives you an opportunity to apologize to any person, place, or thing, any noun. You get to apologize to any noun.
Any noun.
Yeah, that and the reason for this is to get that negative energy out of you and set your energy back to neutral. That person, place, or thing doesn't have to hear it, of course, but this is for you to deal with that therapeutically.
Any noun. I know exactly what I'll apologize to. It's actually very personal. So after my dad died, there wasn't a lot that I was like he didn't have a will. You know, he didn't have anything to actually bequeath to any of us. He didn't have anything. Because most of the stuff that we even wanted, me and my younger brother were like, oh, this, I'll get this. Or like, you know, when he was on hospice, you know, and he was talking about like what we could, he had already sold, traded, or given away for drugs. So we didn't have like anything. We had a house that was in a state of disrepair and just shit. One thing we did have that I had said from the jump, even after my grandfather died, there was a painting, a print. It's called The Helping Hand. And it's of a male fisherman, an older man with a younger girl in a boat. And the girl is trying to like row the boat. And like the old man's like looking at her like, oh, look at this little shit trying to help me. This painting, a print of a painting, had been in my grandfather's house since I was a child. I don't ever remember it not being there. So the day of my dad's funeral, I go to the house and get that. I get this painting that I have wanted, that I have had my eye on, that it was mine. It is my painting. I take it, go to the service, then go to the wake. I drink a lot. I guess is understandable. I don't want to stay in Spring City. I want to go fucking home. So I drunkenly take my painting, take my bag. I go.
Sorry. A drunk guy with a painting just sounds
I know.
funny to me, just like walking around
Yeah,
drunk.
that's
with a painting.
honestly what it was. I was a drunk guy walking around with a painting. And
Like
then
in that moment, was the painting like super delicate to you, and you
No.
had to like get it home safely?
I was hell bent on it, but
Yeah.
I was hammered, and I was like super tired because I'd been up the night before. I got on the Norristown high speed line, take that all the way to Philadelphia.
Those are train tracks, by the way.
Train.
I was on that.
Yeah.
So then I get on that, and then I get on the mark. I get to 69th Street Station, beautiful station. Get on the train, take it, and I get off. And I get on the next connecting train. And it isn't until I get off at the Snyder stop when I drunkenly realize I got off without the painting.
Oh man.
And it is gone. It is gone. This thing that I had looked forward to my entire childhood into my early adult life. And then the only relic I have connecting not only my grandfather, my father, and myself is now gone. And I apologize to this painting that I had worked so hard for to try and get,
Wow.
because I had then drunkenly forgot it. And in a way, it almost makes me feel that much more morally remiss, because now I left a piece of like my lineage is now just floating around somewhere.
I wonder where it is.
I have no idea.
In somebody's house somewhere.
I've
Think
often
so? That thing went to Norristown.
It's in a Norristown.
no, it was on the 69th Street, so it's in
Okay,
Philadelphia.
It's in Philly.
Yeah, it's in
It
Philly.
survived Norristown. Man, that's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So I apologize for
Yeah.
that.
That's a moment, man.
Yeah, I hope it's
Wow.
appreciated. I hope
Yeah.
that's an appreciated piece in someone's house.
I mean, I often think about buying another print of it. There's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah,
can find
yeah.
them, but it's like
That
Not
print.
that
it's
one.
not that one.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope that comes back to you soon.
I know.
Sydney, no shit. Every now and again, I will go to thrift stores where they sell like just found art,
Yeah.
and I go through every painting.
It would be my dream come true if somehow this podcast brought that back to you.
I would
Oh my
fucking lose
God.
my mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would lose my mind.
Have you
And
ever talked about that painting before?
this is like the second time I've ever talked about this
Okay.
situation.
We'll take that. On Two Jack
Yeah,
Bros, we get a lot
I
of
feel
first
it.
time stuff, but
Yeah.
we'll take a second time thing.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
only other person I ever told was my girlfriend, because I was just like thinking about it because I saw like somebody walking around with a nice framed painting.
Yeah.
I honestly was like, because I saw them earlier that day, and then like,
don't leave that in the train.
yeah,
Hold on to that like it means to. Yeah. Yeah. That's.
and it was just floating through my mind. And then she's like, "What are you thinking about?" I was like, "You know what I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
Just a sad story, just a sad, dumb fucking thing."
Man,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
is like a book story.
it
It's
is a
like the
book, yeah.
Notebook. Like
Yeah.
it's like a scene in one of those movies.
And it's, yeah, I apologize to that.
But
Yeah.
I feel like we're only partway through that story.
Yeah.
So the happy
Well,
ending
we'll
will-
see.
Yeah.
It might continue, or you might wish you waited a second.
Yeah.
Because the next question is.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
What is your favorite painting?
Yeah. So what situation
Oh man.
has resulted in you being the most disappointed in yourself, and how did you overcome that?
man. The most disappointed in myself. Ooh. how did I overcome the most disappointed in myself? When was I the most disappointed in myself? I think the most disappointed in myself as of recently was when I, almost burnt down the Khyber Pass pub. I think that's one of the most.
And that was a job you were working.
That was
at.
a job I was working at.
Yeah.
That was a job I was working at. It was my first and last closing bartending shift.
Oh man.
It was like, and I had been a bar back forever. And then when I blew out my knee and I was like trying to get back into working, I told him like, look, you guys wanted a bar back who could move like the way I can't do it anymore. I can't do the same shit I used to.
Were you like a legendary? I don't even really know what a bar back was.
It's
you were,
everything.
Like a really good
I
bar
was
back.
really good.
Yeah.
I was really good.
So what you don't
get
know
drinks,
about.
you like get.
It's
like,
everything.
Do you have good footwork? Like,
Oh, it's
good
just like
bar
you
back
just
footwork?
what I've always said about bar backing is like, that's the reason the bar exists. Everything that you see behind a bar that's working smoothly with the bar is because of one or two dudes who are like working really hard to make sure everything is everywhere where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's like also lifting heavy shit all the time. It's doing all the gross shit that goes on in a bar.
I appreciate
literally
those
everything.
jobs.
Yeah.
It's
like
everything.
them.
And Ryan is.
I like behind the scene jobs.
Yeah. they're
Oh
very
yeah, it's the
important
backest of the
jobs.
back of house.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. So and when Ryan is a notoriously good worker.
Yeah.
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 I believe this.
yeah.
Works like a big man.
Yeah.
That's what it
Works
is.
like two
I work
giant
like a
men.
not short man.
Yeah.
I work like a very tall man.
I got a not tall guy work ethic.
Yeah, that's what it is. I have a very big and large ethic.
Yeah, he's
Pretty
like
sweet.
he's like at least a Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm an
big one,
honorary.
huh?
He is
Yeah.
a Mexican.
I'm there. I'm honorary Mexican.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
sick. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. But yeah, I would say that that night, yeah, I think it's I was most disappointed in myself because I the next morning I was awoken to several different texts and phone calls that like I was like off that day, and I just saw I was like, whoa.
Wait,
So what had happened was, and this is what happened. So I closed with a training barback, this guy named Kyle.
Rookie.
This guy named Kyle, and the barback
rookie.
and the
Kyle was
and the
not
bar and the
Mexican at all.
barback training him was named Tom, which
Kyle and
ironically Tom is my dad's name or was my dad's name, and Kyle is my brother's name. And I've often come to this conclusion: if Tom, Kyle, and Ryan are in the same room, nothing good could ever happen.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's a terrible combination of names. So Kyle is training, Tom is training Kyle, and I'm closing as a bartender. It was a Monday night. It was very steady. We did very well with the money. Everything was great. And I'm actually feeling good because like we had a busy night and I killed it. I felt really confident in what I was doing.
Yeah.
Money was good. Tip everybody out. We stay after hours drinking, having a good time. Tom's like, I got to be in here in the morning. I'm getting out of here. I'm like, you do your thing. So Kyle and I stayed fairly late drinking. Now, when we were done getting hammered, I remember I was like, check all the doors, make sure all the doors are locked, make sure the bug lights are up, make sure all the lights are off, make sure everything is tight as a drum.
Put the fire out.
Yeah, no, well, see, that was the thing. We have candles and votives. Now, we got outside of the fucking Khyber, closed the fucking door. Now, the door locks behind me. I don't have a key to that door. It's the main door. The only person who has a key to that door is like the cleaning guy in the morning. So I'm like, and that was another thing too, is like, because that door is super old, you got to make sure that door stays closed. So I'm like making sure it's fucking closed. And then I'm like, hell yeah.
All responsible.
Like, this is good. And then I look in the window and there's one candle burning with a curtain up. Now, that candle is like very, very, very low.
Yeah.
And there's water in the bottom of the votives as a contingency. If it were to like overburn, it would just put itself out.
Yeah,
We're
that
good.
sounds fine to me.
We're good.
Yeah.
And I looked at that candle, and this is what fucks me, is that I'm on camera acknowledging the candle,
Yeah.
staring at the candle,
Weighing
then
out
making
the risks.
then making the executive decision, like, you know what, that fucking thing's gonna put
Yeah.
itself out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Low risk.
guess what did not happen?
It went up in flames?
What happened is the heat built up behind the velvet curtain, and then the velvet curtain began to smolder. And then it smoldered the whole night and then broke the window from the sill all the way up, which is a huge $400 pane of glass.
Yeah.
And then
A rush of oxygen
singed,
comes in.
Then, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then singed the top of the table that it was on. Now, somebody walked by around 6 o'clock in the morning and saw it and called the fire department.
Yeah.
Now, when the fire department got there, they were ready to break down the front door of the Khyber. Now, the Khyber is one of the oldest bars, not only in Philadelphia, in America.
Yeah.
If they had broken that door down, that door is like priceless and irreplaceable. Luckily, at that time, this guy was there, like the cleaning guy was there. He opened it up. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he saw what was going on. They went in, put out the candle. Now, I had almost burnt down this building because that building in Old City is a tinderbox.
Yeah.
Every building in Old City is made of like the oldest fucking shit in the world.
Wood.
And on top of that, the Khyber had just done a multi-million-dollar renovation to the building. Not only that, if the Khyber went up because there are no firewalls because these buildings were built in like 1780,
Yeah.
not only did I put my job at risk, I put all the bookkeeping people at risk, which I put all the other adjoining buildings at risk. I could have burnt down more than a city block. And on top of that, we found out later in that year when the building behind Little Lion burnt down, it took out 4 different buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that could have happened a block up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what made you so disappointed in
That
yourself?
I took an incredible job and I ruined it in one fell swoop with drinking.
Did you get fired?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. I mean, they had no choice but to fire me.
Yeah.
And in court, like that's what I said before earlier. Like I don't always fuck up on a job,
Mm-hmm.
but when I do, man, do I fuck up.
Yeah.
Man.
I fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of the most disappointed I'd ever been. Cause like then it was like, what do I do?
Yeah. How'd you forgive yourself or get over
I
it?
mean,
Or like
I think it
move
was more
past
like,
it?
you know, you really do weigh what could have happened. Like you kind of like really look at the what if,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, thank God that fucking shit didn't happen.
Yeah. Like your job collateral was the collateral. of that
Exactly. I mean,
situation,
that's the
not
thing
like-
too. Is like, I was more disappointed because I knew I'd be out of a job for a little bit,
Yeah.
and not just because I was fired. It was because everybody knew.
Yeah.
So like I was unhireable for a little bit.
Like
Peop-
all the bartenders
oh
that-
my
or the bar
god,
back guy,
they
it
knew
was
who
like
the fuck I was. Everyone knew
In
who I
Philly?
was for the wrong fucking reasons.
the
And
guy
it-
that almost
yeah.
burned down
Oh
the
god, yeah.
place.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was super disappointed in myself. That was like one of the most disappointed I'd ever been.
And didn't you end up working at the Khyber again?
So what happened was during the pandemic. So
Whole new staff.
the whole new, well, yeah, they had a whole new thing, and like I think they were hurting so much for people coming back, they reapproved me to be hired back at the Khyber, and I was like, and even after I'd almost burned it down,
Yeah.
I was still like welcome there.
Did
Yeah.
you have a fire-related nickname?
Oh no! But everyone knew who I was. That was the whole
Yeah.
thing. Even the new staff, they're like, "Wait, you're right? Oh, that's you. We've heard about you."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always that's not a great thing. Is it when you walk into a building and people are like, "Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
This is the guy who almost burnt down an entire building."
You're part of the lore of
yeah,
that building now.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. You become a ghost,
Yeah,
whether or
you're-
not you want it.
He became a ghost.
That's
He did.
what
That's why
happened.
he's not
Yeah.
afraid of them.
That's why I'm not afraid. I became a ghost. I was super chubbed up during that fire too. I made sure everyone saw it.
All right, that's sick, man.
Fantastic.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Ryan Shaner, what have you learned from grief?
What have I learned from grief? That eventually it goes away. I learned that you can't hold on to grief forever. I don't think you should. I think grief is an insane. I mean, though it may be traumatic, and at the time detrimental, I think it's an insane teaching tool. It teaches you more about yourself. I've learned that grief will eventually go away. You have 2 choices with grief, because grief just plants a seed in your head, and you have 2 choices with that seed, because it's gonna have to get watered with either information you get from somebody else or information you give yourself. So you have 2 choices with that seed. You can either let it bear forth fruit of bullshit and regret, or you can let it bear forth fruit of enlightenment and like moving forward. So I think the biggest thing I've learned from grief is just that it will pass and you'll get over it.
I think that's that I don't think there's any other emotion that you are so aware of your choice of how you process this emotion as grief.
Oh yeah, you have to, and I think you have to be. I think that's even the worst part now is like, I would say, so like this is 8 months of me not drinking. This is the longest I've ever been sober in my adult life. And I think it's more like things that I used, like when I would be grieving, especially when my dad died, when my cat was put to sleep during the pandemic, I drank through all of that. And now it's like I've been 8 months sober. Sometimes I think about it. I'm like, I don't even think I processed it the right way. I don't even think I got through it the way I should have, or a good way, or even like, even a constructive way. So like now it's like those feelings or those thoughts are coming back and you're just like, I don't even know what to do with these. You feel like you have to hang on to what you thought you learned too. You have to be like, I know this will go away. I know I'll get by this. I know I'll get through it. But like now I have to do it in a different way. I think that's what I think the thing is now, just learning how. I don't know how.
So I lost my mom like 8 months ago, I think.
Oh,
and
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But I think like even like I didn't drink a lot through but I still feel like sometimes you go back to like day one, and like what you're saying about like you have to remember like it's like I've been here before. I can move forward. Like things are okay. Like you have go through all of it. Like it just feels like day one sometimes.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been learning too, not only with Ansley going through the process of dealing with her mother, but us going through the process of doing this podcast, is that grief is cyclical.
Yeah.
So learning that it ends and that you can get through it is important, because it's going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it goes back to what you said earlier about like when you're talking about fear, like that you have to accept what you're going through, right?
Of course. And you have to accept that grief is going to happen. It's going to come. And it's like, I would say some grief will put more scar tissue on than other grief. I think it's also like, you're not going to grieve. I mean, who knows? You may see a dead squirrel and be like, man, I feel real bad. And
How is like when you drive by like deer that are like in 10 pieces and you're like, that barely affected me. That's such a weird like.
I honestly, whenever I see deer on the side of the road, I believe that the deer made the choice to do that. I think in my head, I'm like, that deer was just real sad one day and was like, I'm done. I think that was a conscious effort on the deer. Yeah. But you see that and you're like, oh, I feel bad. But then you immediately are like, oh, I still have to go to work. You're not going to grieve the same way you do for like, a coworker. And you're not going to grieve the same way for a coworker you will like for a family member, and so on and so forth. I think it's the level of grief will put a scar or like scar tissue on you, and it'll toughen you up. And sometimes, as much as you say, you're like, I've learned that you will get over it. But there are people I know that like, some people just never get over it. And I don't expect, I'm not like, you need to get over it. But it's also like, what do you do now? Do you let this grief control your whole life now? I don't know if that's what someone who had died would really want you to do.
To take on the identity,
to take on the
death.
the whole thing. If you really believe that. If you really believe someone died and they're like, well, fuck, I hope your life's fucked forever. Yeah. That's a crazy fucking thing.
That's a cloak. That's like wearing a cloak for the rest of your life.
And if somebody does do that, if someone's last words is like, you better remember this forever. That's fucking part of me.
Sydney's last words.
Part of me. That part of me that's fucking awesome.
Stepdad.
Yup.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's not that. He'll be the chubbed ghost coming out. Be like, why is that ghost got a boner?
You know why. Get away from my woman.
Yeah. You better watch that boner ghost dad, dude. He's coming at you.
Boner ghost dad.
Boner ghost dad. Could you imagine? Now that would terrify.
Boner ghost dad.
Could you imagine your kids be like, don't go upstairs. My dad haunts the building. Why? He's also got a boner the whole time. It's really weird running into my dad as ghost. He's constantly
whichever
around.
one bothers you the most, don't go up there for that reason.
It's just pick one. Don't go up there.
Just don't go up there. Trust
You're
me.
either going to see a ghost with a boner. It's going to hit you either way.
He has a boner, and it's going to be a very boner heavy situation. You got to know this.
That ghost was rock hard, dude.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again for sharing that.
No problem.
And all right. So this is the one after this is our throat chakra. That was the heart chakra.
That was the hard one,
by the way.
Fantastic.
And so we're into the throat chakra. So this one is an opportunity for you to tell us and just like dispel yourself of your favorite lie and your favorite lie you've ever told, and you get extra karmic points, of course, if it's a lie that is currently in rotation.
Oh man, so that's funny, man. I guess it would be currently, and it also does involve death. So when I worked at Kyber, one of my favorite pastimes was lying to the patron. Just lying about anything you could lie about. And this one thing I did is I would make T-shirts that were like very mundane until you read them and you're like, what the fuck is that about? And one thing I had, it was McGinlin's Baby Casket Warehouse is what it said on the shirt.
Okay.
McGinlin's Baby Casket Warehouse. And then there was like an insignia of like a baby sitting on a moon.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't like blaringly loud. It wasn't like in your face. It was like subtle enough where like you'd see it, you just think it was a normal shirt. Yeah. But if you sat down behind the bar and you're drinking, you look up, you're like, there would be times to be wearing it and people would be like, McGinlin's Baby Casket Warehouse? And I'd be like, oh yeah, weirdest job I ever had. And they're like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, so it's crazy. And this is the backstory that goes with it.
Yeah.
In 1962, Roy McGinlin. Roy McGinlin's sister gave birth to 2 twins, and then later that year, they had died of the influenza. They had died. She was grief-stricken, and Roy, being a master craftsman that he was a woodworker and a carpenter, he built her 2 child-sized caskets. Ironically enough, later that year, someone in town in Langhorne lost their son to a car accident. Now, Roy was very good friends with his family, and like the grief-stricken family, didn't know what to do. He made them a casket for their son. And then for whatever reason, Roy just continued to just do this in a hobby. He would make these one-of-a-kind wooden caskets. He did this up until the 80s, into the 90s, and then he died in 1992, and his son Roy Jr. took over. And they have a warehouse outside of Langhorne. So basically what I did there is I worked in the front end of the office, and when anybody would come in, and usually you're not even dealing with the family, you're dealing with like a lawyer or someone representing the family, they come in and they say what's going on, and they just make caskets all day. Like there's just like different sizes, different shapes, different like types of wood. Some are made of like, rarer wood, some are more expensive. But the thing is too, with McGinlin's Baby Casket Warehouse, if you can't pay, they find a way to like give you a casket. If you go to McGinlin's Baby Casket Warehouse, they find a way to give it to you. And the crazy part is Roy Jr. was just as an amazing woodworker as Roy Sr. And one day, one of the craziest things I ever saw, somebody came in, their son had died I think he drowned in a pool, and they had a picture of their son, and they're like, can you carve a relief of the son on top of the casket? Like there's a picture of him in grade school. And in 72 hours, Roy had done this amazing woodworking on top of this casket. And it was one of the craziest jobs. It was like really creepy there working at night because you're surrounded by baby caskets. But it was one of the weirdest jobs I ever had. This is all fake. This is a fictitious story. But people would be like, that is amazing. I'm like, I know. It's like for $9 an hour. Are you kidding me? It's like I had to be there for like ever. It was out of control.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was a good lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one that was really good, that I can't believe this happened. I was working. A guy asked me, he's like, hey, you look pretty, you go to a gym? And I was like, no. No, I don't go to a gym, but when I was younger, I used to be a child bodybuilder. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, actually, it was crazy. My dad, he was a bodybuilder in Florida, and my mom went to Florida State. They met, and then my grandmother ended up getting sick, so they moved back to Pennsylvania. They got married. They had me. My dad wasn't into sports, but he's still doing it. But he had no real outlet in Pennsylvania. But he got me into it, and we had to go to Rehoboth. We had to go to Maryland, the Outer Banks, and even Florida and compete. And then
he was like, this motherfucker went to Rehoboth.
I know Rehoboth.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Damn.
But
this is compete. Okay, this is legit.
This is the craziest thing though, is that I was like, I competed at 8 years old in Hollywood, Florida, and then I got flown. I competed and I qualified, and I went to Venice Beach, California, and I competed against Ryan Gosling before he was on the Mickey Mouse Club. And the guy goes, I remember that. No, you don't. You just heard a part that you recognized. And he was like, I totally remember Ryan Gosling bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And he competed in Venice Beach. Like, no, you don't. No. But those are the two best lies. Those are the two my favorite
okay.
lies.
Yeah, those are pretty detailed lies.
Yeah, you got to have them
Yeah.
be ridiculous.
Well, when you get an opportunity to like open mic the lies like with customers,
yeah,
you know?
dude, it's so good. And you send them away with like whatever. The one time I also would show up to work and I had a black eye a couple times at Khyber. Actually, I had 6 in 4 years. I had 6 black eyes in 4 years. And the one time I had a black eye, someone asked me what had happened. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a bouncer at Chuck E. Cheese. And they're like, what? I was like, in North Philly, man, it's crazy up there. And they're like, the kids? I'm like, actually, it's the parents you got to watch out for. It's like sometimes I'll have birthday parties up there and somebody isn't invited and they just show up and they throw hands.
It's believable.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's
Very
the little thing. People are like, that's
Yeah.
insane, man.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fucking out of
So I
control.
don't go up there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's like, hey, you better watch it. It's fucking great.
All right, so that was our throat chakra. Those are Ryan's lies.
Man, I'm feeling very
Right?
chakra.
Yeah, right.
Dude.
So now those are like the body chakras, I guess.
Cool.
These are now those are the physical chakras. Now we're into the metaphysical chakras. Now we're getting into the third eye.
Oh, man.
Third eye time.
Dude.
Right?
Third eye.
Yeah. So
Step out from that ledge, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So Ryan Shaner, in your time being alive. In your time being alive, Ryan, what are some things that you noticed that seem separate but are actually the same? Like, what comes to your mind when I say that?
Seems separate, but actually the same. Certain levels of extremism on both sides of the map. Extremism is all the same. Like, I think it's like when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, nationalistic extremism is the same as like religious extremism. It's the same fucking thing. You're just all taking one thing and taking it to a different level. And I think it's like people who are like, oh, these people believe in this and like, you know, like, but it's like, it's all the same crap. Religion is also all the same for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And I think when people talk about like, you know, like, oh, well, these Muslim men, you know, they go after the women. Like, well, they do the same thing that, like, you know, extreme Orthodox Jews do it. The extreme Orthodox Catholics do the same thing. It's all the same type of thing.
What extreme groups do you think are out there having the most fun?
The most fun?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's actually a great question. Extreme couponers are probably having the most fun.
Wait, so but you also do liken extreme couponers to Al Qaeda?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God. They're blowing up stores with savings, dude. They're getting in there. They're taking it down.
Yeah.
They're playing. No,
I often think about making a delve into extreme couponing.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I would get too obsessed.
That's why it's extreme couponing. Yeah. They look for people like you. You're like the extreme coupon. You're like a perfect member for a cult, man.
I
like,
think so.
Honestly, if you're like, you know what, I just want to get super extreme into something with like a real big cause, dude.
Yeah,
you're right there. But couponing may be the way. You know, you could probably get like a really nice pool for like $5 if you coupon enough. If you really extreme coupon enough.
Well, I mean, I feel like with all the savings that you get with the things that you do coupon, you could probably fucking get a pool. Get a
You probably
you know
could.
What I mean?
I mean, that was the show. Wasn't that on like fucking TLC or something? Extreme couponers, where like there was a lady with like almost like baseball card books full of fucking coupons, and it's like
they go grocery shopping and pay like $2 for a
that's
whole cart of groceries.
To me,
wild.
that's. I mean, good on you, but like I don't understand how anybody does that. But that to me is the same thing of somebody like really going through the Bible and like really trying to interpret everything about it. They have a level of dedication that I'll never have to anything.
Yeah, it's just like a different kind of discount you're trying to get.
Sure. You're trying to discount yourself into heaven.
Yeah.
And these people are trying to discount themselves to bagels, man. They're trying to get every discount they can. Do you think you could buy? Do you think you'd be able to, like, do you think, hypothetically, what do you think you could do to, like, negotiate your way into heaven? What do you think? What do you think?
Break the gates. I'm using the Ryan Shader method.
Yeah, you're just
for
going to
everything
run
right
into
now.
it?
Just break it.
Just run it. I'll break in.
What are they made out of? With that copper?
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, I think a buddy of mine was talking about, like, he was saying, like, if he ever got sent to hell, he's like, yeah, I'll just escape hell.
I'd probably parkour my way out of hell.
It's like, yeah, I can probably just escape hell. And and he said, he's like, dude, he's like, you don't think in hell right now, if hell exists, in hell right now, there isn't 3 people waiting around for the 4th member of a crew. They're like, yeah, we got to get out of here, but like, we don't know who's going to, and then you die, you go to hell. They're like, do you want to get out of here?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Well, we now have 4 people. We're getting out of hell. I guarantee there's like just groups of things in hell. Like, I want to escape hell. I got to get out of hell.
I really feel like in hell I'd be a lone wolf.
Really?
Kind of do it myself.
Ryan's like, they're all waiting for me.
They're like, we need that one guy.
Yeah. You show up to hell with a crew.
Yeah. We pass you on the highway to hell, and you're like, I'm trying to get out. Like, you could have got in the van, dude. But you just wanted to do it yourself. That's fine.
We're like opposites. Like when I show up to hell, I'm like Ryan Shaner walking down the street.
Yeah.
That's fun.
People are like, leave that dude alone.
You know what? That's the best way to be in hell too. Yeah. It's like, just look like, oh, what are you, a demon? Fucking millennia-year-old? Whatever, dude. I fight bums sometimes. Get out of here. I'll kill you. Or maybe I will. I have no idea.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I like that answer. Extremism on both sides.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing.
Okay. So this is the last question that we do on the podcast, and so this is. We also have a Patreon. Do you have time to stick around for a Patreon? It goes much faster than this.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's Ryan. This is our last question.
Fantastic.
It's something that you can't give up. What is one thing that you can't give up, and why?
Man.
It's a 2-part question. And what would giving that up mean to you?
Something I can't give up, and why? And what would it mean? Man, that's a real fucking curveball. I'm usually quick with the answers. I think that's probably the hardest thing. What I can't give up, because I think about like everything is almost like finite. I know it's all eventually gonna go away anyway, and I know that like as I've gotten older, and it kind of sucks. The older I've gotten, the more of like a nihilist I've almost become. Like I don't care about a lot anymore because I know it's all eventually gonna go away. So like, what can I give up, and how would it affect me? Man.
I mean, it doesn't have to be something physical. It can be something metaphysical.
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to think.
Man, once that painting went away.
Yeah, that was a bummer. But like, again, it was like one of those things like, well, yeah, that's the thing. I was really bummed. But then I was also like, I can find it online. Yeah. I can find another version of it. I'll be all right. I'll get past it. What can I give up? I can't give up on love, dude.
There it is.
I can't give up on love.
Didn't see that coming.
I can't give up on love. No, I can't because I think you can't, like, I mean, I'm a person, I think that's another thing. It's like I've been told by a lot of people that I'm a very intense person.
What? You?
Yeah. I've been told. No. And the thing is, like, I don't usually see it. I'm like, I'm not that fucking bad. What are you fucking talking about?
Those people are losers, Ryan.
Yeah, I was like, what are you,
bullies? They're jealous.
You two sit around and talk about this.
Fuck your problem.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Do people say that to me too? They're dumb.
I don't know what the fuck their problem is.
Yeah, I know those people.
I would say that especially like, I can't give up on it because like I know that I hate a lot of things. And I'm a person who hates as hard as I love. So I can't give up on it. I can't give up on the idea of being accepted. I can't give up on the idea, not that like people will. Like in my head, it's like I know there's somebody out there who will get who I am and make me a better person. And I can't give up on that idea. As much as I believe that I can do it, I also believe a yin and a yang in a sort of way. I believe there is something out there for everybody to make them be the person they're supposed to be. I can't give up on that ideology. I can't give up on the love for that ideology. I can't give up on love either, whether it become from in yourself or from somebody the fuck else. I think you have to, if you can hold on to anything, it's got to be that. Don't get me wrong, always hold on to hate. Hate's awesome. I get hate a lot. But I also think that like if you have one, you got to have the other, and I can't give up on that.
Yeah. That was a way gayer answer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, dude, it's super gay.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm saying it, I was like, man, I fucking,
Yeah.
I felt myself getting gay.
I thought you were going to be like, I can't give up on my knives.
No,
You know, like
no.
my
I mean,
brass
it's also
knuckles.
the part of me was like, I honestly said was like, I'm really quick. I was like, I can't give up on RoboCop. I can't. I will never give up on RoboCop. Some people talk shit on it. I was like, it's one of the perfect movies ever made. It's an amazing movie. I can't give up on RoboCop, and I can't give up on love, dude. I can't give up on love or RoboCop or Streets of Rage 2. Nobody can. Can't give up on that.
That's our dog right now acting like a fucking maniac.
Just
for
keeping
some
us
reason.
safe.
Yeah.
It's a double doodle, man.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
met a double dude.
She's down there like, why is he being gay
Doubling
now?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It sense the gayness. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs always know. They always
Yeah.
know.
It's not gonna
That's
work.
not
Is that
good.
gonna work?
She hates
No?
knocking.
Yeah.
Knocking makes the bark more. Well, we're at the end of the podcast
Well,
anyway.
fantastic.
So, Ryan, how do you feel, man?
I feel pretty good. I feel like I purged a lot. You know, got a lot out of me. Opened up some chakras. The dog knows the chakras are open.
Dog is feeling it.
Dog is feeling the chakra open. Especially from my butthole. It's super gay now. It's super open. Fuck me.
She's trying to
man.
get in.
Yeah,
She's trying
that's
to
what it
show-
is.
trying to run into your
That golden
butthole.
dude's trying to find my dudes, dude.
All right. So, Ansley's going to go shut our dog up.
Shut
but,
that goddamn dog up.
I don't want to speak for her, but I feel a little more enlightened after that. I
Do
feel
you?
like, dude, this is a fun process, man.
It is.
Like you let a person come here and unfold themselves.
Yeah,
comedically,
it was nice.
you
It was
know?
nice.
It's we have a good time.
I felt good
so,
about it.
Yeah, so we're gonna break, and I think the dog is biting Ansley now. She's like trying to like keep it
Yeah,
cool.
she comes back very bloody.
I just
She
sits
had a
down.
lot
It's like,
going
all right,
on.
let's close up this podcast.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hop into the Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. We love you guys. Ryan Shannon, do you have anything you want to plug?
Check out You Fucked It at YFI on Twitter and on YouTube, YFI Podcast. Check it out.
Hell yeah, we'll have all that stuff in the description in the podcast. And thank you so much for listening to Two Jack Bros. Get on the Patreon. $1 gets you all of our exclusive content, and we will be there enlightening Ryan Shaner's shadow self right now.
Fantastic.
All right. Wait, is Ansley coming back? Wait, hold on. Nope.
Nope. She's out. Is she talking to the dog?
I don't know what she's doing. I think she's like talking her.
Yeah, she
all right,
is.
I can do this. I can go back in there like nothing happened. All right, Ansley, we're saying bye right now.
Bye.
Bye.
She got you.